You know how much your salary can actually afford in Kansas City? Well, let's test it. Here's a quick challenge. Guess the monthly payment on a $500,000 home with a 20% down payment, a 30-year loan at 6.5% interest, plus $450 a month in debts. And how much salary would you need in order to make that payment? Drop your guess in the comments. I want to see how close you are. Hi there, friends. I'm Sheryl McCormick, a licensed realtor with the #1 ranked Rob Ellerman team at ReeceNichols, based right here in Kansas City. On this channel, I help buyers and sellers make smarter real estate moves with neighborhood tours, housing tips, and brutally honest market insights. So if you're thinking about making a move in or out of Kansas City or within Kansas City, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss a thing. In this video, I'll not only reveal the payment and salary needed on a $500,000 home, but I'll also show you the all-in monthly payment for homes from $300,000 all the way up to $1 million. That means principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and debts, all apples to apples, and how much you would need in order to buy. I'll also show you the average cost of homes in many of the popular suburbs of Kansas City, like Overland Park, Olathe, Leawood, and others, so that you can make an informed decision if you're thinking about buying in Kansas City. So why is it so hard to pin down affordability? Well, it's because there are several moving parts hitting all at once. First, let's talk about purchase price and down payment. The more you put down, the less you borrow. You can purchase a home with as little as 3% down, or actually even no money down if you have a VA loan or veterans loan. But if you put down 20%, you avoid PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, which protects the lender in case of borrow default. PMI can add an additional cost of between 0.46% all the way up to 1.5% of the loan amount. But once you've crossed that 20% threshold, the PMI can be removed, which will lower your remaining payments. Next, interest rates. Interest rates have a huge impact on the affordability of a house payment. Interest rates not only affect your principal and interest amount, but they can change where you may actually be able to afford to live. I'll talk more about that later in this video. Another thing that affects affordability is your debts. For example, if you have car loans, student loans, credit card debt, all of those are going to affect what lenders are willing to lend you. And your monthly house payment doesn't just include the principal and interest, but you also have to add in taxes and insurance. And in Johnson County, taxes on a $500,000 home are about $5,500 a year, and insurance is around $4,000 a year. That's almost $800 a month on top of your mortgage. And don't forget to consider other factors when determining how much you can afford. If you select a property that has an HOA or homeowners association, you're going to pay an extra monthly fee or yearly fee separate from your house payment. Be sure to factor in savings for maintenance and repairs when you're budgeting for your home. Simply put, affordability is never tied to just the sticker price on the house. It depends on the home and the neighborhood itself, the loan size, interest rates, taxes, insurance, and the debts that you already carry. That's why affordability shifts so much, even if your salary stays the same. And every situation is different. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about. How much salary you need to buy a home. For my examples, here's the scenario that I'm using. I'm assuming a 30-year fixed rate loan at 6.5% with a 20% down payment. I am not including PMI or HOA, so if you plan on putting down less than 20% or buying a home with an HOA, be sure to add in those amounts. And I'm using a $450 amount for other monthly debts like car loans, student debt, or credit card debt. For local taxes and insurance ratios, I'm using approximately 1.1% for taxes and approximately 0.8% for insurance. So now let's run the numbers. First, let's look at a $300,000 home. Well, for a $300,000 home with a 20% down payment, that would give you a loan amount of $240,000, which gives you principal and interest of approximately $1,516. And then taxes and insurance would come up to approximately $570, which gives you an all-in monthly payment of about $2,090. Well, in order to afford that payment, you would need to earn approximately $72,000 a year. Now let's move on to a $400,000 home. For that home, you would have a loan amount of $320,000, principal and interest of approximately $2,022, taxes and insurance of approximately $760, and an all-in monthly payment of approximately $2,780. And for a $400,000 house, you need approximately $92,000 a year income in order to afford that. Now for a $500,000 home, which if you remember, I brought up at the very beginning of the video, so let's see how you did. With 20% down, that would be a $400,000 loan, which would mean principal and interest of approximately $2,528, taxes and insurance of approximately $950, giving you an all-in monthly payment of $3,480. And the income needed in order to afford a $500,000 home, approximately $112,000. So, how did you do? Did you do well? Were you a good predictor? Well, let's move on to a $600,000 home. For a $600,000 home, a 20% down payment would give you a loan amount of $480,000, principal and interest of approximately $3,035, taxes and insurance of approximately $1,140, and an all-in monthly payment of approximately $4,175. And the income that you need for a $600,000 house, just right around $133,000. Moving on to a $700,000 home, 20% down gives you a loan amount of $560,000, principal and interest of approximately $3,541, taxes and insurance of approximately $1,330, and an all-in monthly payment of approximately $4,870. The income needed for that $700,000 home, approximately $154,000. Now let's move on. We're getting up there, guys. $800,000 home. With 20% down, that would give you a loan amount of $640,000, which gives you a principal and interest of approximately $4,048. Taxes and insurance on that would be approximately $1,520, and an all-in monthly payment of about $5,570. And for that $800,000 home, you would need income of approximately $175,000. Moving on to that $900,000 home, with 20% down, that would give you a loan amount of $720,000, principal and interest of approximately $4,554, taxes and insurance approximately $1,710, an all-in monthly payment of approximately $6,260, and the income that you need for that $900,000 home is approximately $196,000. And our final example is a $1 million home, which if you put 20% down, gives you an $800,000 loan, principal and interest of $5,063, taxes and insurance approximately $1,900, an all-in monthly payment of $6,960, and the income that you need for that $1 million home is approximately $217,000 a year. Phew, that's a lot of numbers. Now, I don't know if you noticed there, but there was a pattern. For every $100,000 increase in price, that adds about $700 to $750 a month to the payment, and around $20,000 more in salary that you need to qualify for that payment. Now, remember that these numbers are only estimates. Exact incomes and payment amounts are determined by your own situation and credit score, the home that you select, and the neighborhood that you choose. So, what does this mean for Kansas City suburbs? Well, let's connect these numbers to real neighborhoods. For all home values, I'm using the average home value from Zillow.com as of July of 2025. Overland Park is a good place to start. The typical home in Overland Park is around $475,000, which closely mirrors the $500,000 bracket we broke down earlier. And after taxes and insurance and liabilities, a buyer usually needs household income just north of $110,000 per year. Families in Overland Park are willing to pay the premium for its highly rated schools, strong job access, and parks, but that premium stretches many budgets compared to living elsewhere in Kansas City. So, next, let's look at Lenexa. Median pricing here runs closer to $450,000. That ties almost exactly to the $400,000 to $450,000 range we reviewed, translating into a qualifying income near $100,000 annually. Lenexa has grown steadily in popularity because of its newer developments and proximity to major highways. Still, the math works out so that many buyers who qualify in Lenexa also qualify in Overland Park, since the gap in monthly payments is small. So those Overland Park buyers and those Lenexa buyers, there's a lot of crossover there. It all comes down to which neighborhood you prefer the best. Olathe usually comes in a step lower, with median homes around $425,000. Using the same assumptions, this falls into the $400,000 price bracket, which requires roughly $90,000 to $95,000 in household income. Dropping from $475,000 to $425,000 might not look like a big difference, but in practice, the several $100 reduction in monthly payments can actually determine whether a home feels comfortably affordable or if it's really a stretch. Now let's look at Prairie Village and Leawood. Both of those sit at the higher end of Johnson County pricing. Prairie Village often lands above $500,000, and a $550,000 home there requires annual income near $120,000. Leawood pushes the envelope even further, with many listings climbing into the $650,000 to $700,000 range. That connects directly to the $700,000 bracket we covered earlier, meaning that buyers need income of at least $150,000 and often more to qualify. These higher prices reflect not just the properties, but also the highly rated school districts, the architecture, and retail development nearby. Buyers in Prairie Village and Leawood expect to pay more, but actually putting the numbers on paper can still be quite a shock. For those buyers who want to keep their purchase prices below $400,000, Shawnee and Spring Hill are often the most realistic options. Shawnee's prices fall into the $350,000 to $375,000 zone, translating to qualifying incomes of around $80,000. Spring Hill stays in a similar band, typically between $75,000 and $85,000 in annual household income. The trade-off in Shawnee and Spring Hill is location. These suburbs sit a little further out and they have fewer built-in amenities. But for many buyers, the lower monthly payment outweighs those sacrifices. But don't forget, interest rates can move this entire map. Even a small 0.5% drop in interest rates can free up approximately $100 to $300 a month, which could bump you from Spring Hill into Olathe or from Prairie Village into Leawood. And fingers crossed, maybe we'll start to see some of those drops in interest rates soon. So at the end of the day, affordability in Kansas City isn't just about the sticker price. It's about the interest rates you lock in, the size of your down payment, your ongoing debts, and local taxes and insurance. Those determine how far your income stretches and why two households earning the same salary often end up looking at very different price ranges. So as you consider entering the Kansas City market in 2025, the key is simple. Know how much you can afford and fully explore all of your options. Drop a comment with the suburban price range that you're targeting. I'd love to see where you're looking. And if you'd like exact numbers tailored to your salary and price range, shoot me an email or a text, and I'd be happy to send you a personalized breakdown. And if you want to learn more about the Johnson County suburbs listed here, request my free Johnson County relocation guide. Just comment guide below, and I'll send it straight to your inbox. If you're considering a move to Kansas City or anywhere within the Kansas City area, let's talk. I'd love to help you narrow down the perfect suburb for you, show you around, and make the whole process stress-free. Whether you're planning to move in 9 days or in 90 days, I'd love to help you find your perfect home in your perfect neighborhood at your perfect price point. Just give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, or you can just scan the QR code to schedule a quick Zoom chat. Let's talk about your goals. Thanks for watching Living in Kansas City. I'm Sheryl McCormick with the #1 ranked Rob Ellerman team at ReeceNichols Real Estate. Hit like if you found this helpful and subscribe so that you never miss a Kansas City update. I'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and stay tuned for more exciting tours and real estate insights about Kansas City to come.